Blue Sky Studios tier list. RIP to Blue Sky. What on earth happened? Oh, I got to hit first. Okay. Of course. Okay. Actually, it's still not very big, is it? For what this one was called. Collision Course. This was Ice Age 5. This came out a few years ago. I think this is like the last Blue Sky movie, which kind of stinks. This movie's not very good. Definitely the worst Ice Age. Ice Age is just one of those series that kind of, I don't want to say lost the plot. For me, it's just a tone problem. Too busy making jokes and not really focusing on the story or the seriousness or like characters. It's just kind of a celebrity comedy fest with like really nothing to say. It was really like painful to sit down and watch this movie. It just wasn't very good, like at all. It's a shame too, because I think the alien premise for Ice Age, they always come up with good ideas for the Ice Age films, but execution isn't always there. I've only seen it once, like a bit after it came out. We watched it on DVD. A few of my family members just, yeah, yuck. Just a very poor end to Blue Sky, poor end to Ice Age at the time. I think they made a spin-off, which was like even worse, which is like direct to streaming. And then I think they're working on a new one with a different studio, which honestly I have no real hopes for, nor do I want another one, you know? But who knows? It could be good. Okay, that should be a little bit better. I apologize for I don't know why tier list maker likes to be very low quality sometimes, and other times it likes to be decent. This is B. We have Ice Age, The Meltdown. I've never been a huge hater or lover of The Meltdown. I know some people will feel stronger about it. Okay, I got Disable at level 20, which is honestly not the best. Disable's not something I usually... I think it's random what moves gets disabled. It's just kind of, it feels like a sequel, you know? It's not as strong as the first movie. I do like the whole ice caps are melting thing, and I remember the villains are kind of cool. The two prehistoric fish or whatever they were. They weren't great. They just had a cool design and a nice presence. This is when Ellie gets introduced, and the two, I can't remember their names, little weasel things. And those are good characters. I think they become stronger later, but it's cool that they got introduced here. I don't have much to say about it. This is a movie that like I associate with television more than like motion picture, if that makes sense, because I feel like this one was always on TV a lot compared to the other ones. It's just an okay film. Robots, that's a good movie. I don't have much to say about it. I've seen it quite a number of times. I don't have like strong feelings about it. It's just, if someone told me like, hey, Robots is a classic, I'd be like, yeah, sure. I mean, I wouldn't like disagree with them or anything. I just don't, it's not something that I think about often or anything. It's just a good movie. There's some, I like the character designs. I like the world that they came up with. I like the big guy. I can't remember his name. The music is really cool. And in that one shot, I like the auntie with the big butt. Some good jokes here and there. Um, it's just a solid film, I would say. Uh, I think they helped develop this one. I could be wrong on robots. But yeah, that's B tier. A tier is Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. For one, I'm more. I mean, dinosaurs are more my alley. Buck Wild, I think his name is. Yeah, his story with the white. I can't remember what type of dinosaur it was. Like that whole um what's the word, rivalry is really entertaining and cool. There's some cool they did a really good job with the sort of dinosaur world, um and the sort of concepts you would see, and like with the plant eating scene and stuff like that. Stuff like that is just awesome. It's just a really good movie, I would say. A really solid movie. I think Ellie kind of has a stronger showing here, along with I can't remember their names, with the two weasels, with them being under Buck Wild. It's just a movie that sticks in my head a lot more than The Meltdown does, and it's one that I remember fondly, even though I don't remember much of it. It's been so long since I've seen it, you know. But yeah, that's Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. And then next up is Ice Age, the original. This is just a classic, I would say. It's got a good emotional core. Everything with the baby, you know, is good. Let's fight this guy. Oh, we were gonna grind, weren't we? It's fine. I kind of like the older look that this movie has. The animation, the models and stuff look kind of, I wouldn't say dated, it's just kind of like, maybe, I don't know, they're a bit more kooky, you know? It's kind of like when you look at old Mario renders from the 90s and like the GameCube era before they really standardized it, towards the later like GameCube and like when the Wii started, and what we have like to present is still like the standardized looked. There was like that period where they still look kind of like strange and odd, in between appearances, and that's what Ice Age reminds me of. But it's a good movie. It's quite solid. Everything with I can't remember his name. The saber-toothed tiger. I can't remember the dude's name, but he's kind of got a what's it like? Love-hate relationship with the main crew, I would say. That stuff's good. Manny's a really good character, like a really tragic, maybe not tragic, but you can feel, you can really, what's the word? He's just well done, I would say. It's just overall a good movie. The characters, they play off each other well, like Sid and Manny and Diego, that's his name. It's the sort of thing where it's like, you know, no wonder this turned into like a franchise, you know, because the first one was so good. Yeah, that's the original Ice Age. Next we have Rio 2. Rio 2 is a really solid sequel, and one of those sequels that I think of when like it came out like several years after the first one. Like there's a super large gap. It's like, why did they wait this long? It's almost like it feels weird because it's been so long to have a follow-up. It feels weird to revisit this world. And then the movie comes out and it's actually quite good. But because there was such a large gap, you don't always like relate the two with each other, if that makes sense. You kind of think of each on their individual terms and not so much 1 and 2 or like a franchise. That's what's one of those movies is for real for me. I think it's another Geodude. I didn't look. Oh, Machop. Okay, we'll try that again. But Rio 2 is really good. It looks nice. It doesn't look insane like compared to the first, but there's a sizable step up in terms of like the animation, the quality of it. I like the setting, the jungle. One thing that was always weird about this movie was bringing back Nigel. Nigel's like a really good villain, I would say, but he's good in this one, but it's almost like I think I would have liked another villain, because it's almost weird to bring him back when his story had such a perfect ending. And it's not like they messed up his legacy or anything. Like I said, he's quite good in this one too, but the environmental message was good. Everything with the conflict at the end was good. There's a good the humor in this is quite good. I remember it's just a really good movie overall. From what I remember, I've only seen it a couple times too. Okay, nice. I'm gonna switch over to the psychic. But yeah, I wouldn't mind rewatching that someday because it's a good movie. But yeah, that's Rio 2 and A tier. Next up is Horton Hears a Who. I believe I talked about this with the Lorax, yeah. But and it's kind of surprising that the Lorax wasn't made by Blue Sky, because it feels like it. These two movies feel like they were made by the same people with how they look. And you'll say, well, it's all Dr. Seuss, right? But it's how they adapted it, because it's not one-to-one Dr. Seuss's style. They took a lot of inspiration, obviously, but they kind of modernized it and made it its own. But they still resemble each other, these two movies. And a lot of what I said about the Lorax applies here. I think they take an already like incredible story and they add a lot to it, but it doesn't take away from the original message, or the original like story is still in there, but it also has a lot on top of it, which is also really good and really well done. And it just makes for a really great full-length picture, I would say. I don't think I like this one as much as Lorax or the Grinch 2000. And that's not because it's bad. I just think the other two are better. Like they stake their claim that much more. Like with the Lorax's musical numbers and the Grinch's, I would say like the practical sets and like Jim Carrey's acting and stuff like that. The makeup, everything, it really sets it apart. But Horton Hears a Who was like a really great showcase as well. It is also a really good one. But yeah, that's Horton Hears a Who. And then also this movie is a bit desaturated, I would say. It's got a bit darker, and you could say it fits the tone of the film and what's happening thematically, and I would agree. It's almost a bit not unnerving, but it's a bit Tim Burton-esque, I would say. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Not that it's a bad thing, but I just think something like the Lorax has a very concerning plot and theme, but it's juxtaposed with a very, very colorful, happy-go-lucky seeming world. And I think it works all the better for that, whereas the Lorax, it's more in keeping with what's happening, Also the ending, but this is more so to the original story, is just incredible. Yeah, that's Horton Hears a Who. And then next up in A tier is Ice Age 4. That's Continental Drift. That's been my favorite Ice Age since it's come out. I know most people hate Ice Age post 3, and then some people hate Ice Age post the first one. But I think 4 minus, I can kind of get behind. Oh, it's Geodude. I keep missing who's gonna come out next. Minus some of the humor can be a bit overbearing, I would say, like modern 2010s, especially with Peach's friends are like all like modern not actors, like musicians that are not very good voice actors, and they just kind of sort of act like some of the cringiest approximations of teenagers you've ever heard, but they never quite get over the veneer of them being just like popular celebrities that are there to sell the movie, you know? There we go. That's probably the only like blight on this movie for me, but the rest of the movie's so good that like I can look past it. It's not like that big of a negative. I really like the pirates sort of theme. I feel like this... No, let me not say that. Actually, yeah. I feel like this did like the meltdown sort of plot where like they need to migrate because where they're living is like gonna get destroyed basically. I feel like it does that in some ways better. With the meltdown, it's more about the spectacle of it, just sort of the novelty that all these prehistoric animals are like sort of dying out because the ice age is coming to the end. It's like a natural disaster. The backdrop of the whole movie is the natural disaster, but it's not really like... To me, it's just kind of a reason for characters to get on with their journey in Ice Age 2. But Ice Age 4, I feel like it's a bit more juiced emotionally because Manny's like fighting like really hard to get back to his family. And I think that fits so well with what we know about Manny's story at this point. It was in keeping with him. Because they're split up, we get the original cast again, Manny, Diego, and Sid, in Granny, but you know. And then I think the villains are great with the pirates. Seeing them go at it is really entertaining, and you know, cathartic, and it's well done, I would say. And there's a real like palpable sense of stakes here, I would say. Not that there wasn't in the others, but I think it's done well. Any sort of movie, especially like where they have to fight against pirates, I feel like it's always pretty well done, at least that I've seen. Trying to outdo connivers, you know, like hatching plans and stuff, and the physical altercations are always entertaining and stuff like that. That's why that's my favorite Ice Age, Continental Drift. Next up is Epic. I unfortunately don't have much to say about Epic because I haven't seen it in many years, but I do remember that this movie was really good. We watched it quite a bit back in the day when it came out. It's probably my favorite, like... I shouldn't say that. One of my favorite, like, Borrowers type movie where there's like tiny people in the forest, you know. It's just it's beautiful. It's I don't even remember much of the story. It's just a really good movie. I need to rewatch it. There's some really funny lines in there. The opening is worth a shout because there's I won't spoil it, but it's got a really memorable opening. That's what I remember most about it. It's a really good movie. That's unfortunately all I have to say about it. This girl is just... These NPCs are just going crazy. I'm not even talking to you. That's it for A tier. For S tier, we have two movies. The first up is the Peanuts movie. I've only seen this movie once, a bit after it came out. This movie was such a love letter to Peanuts, which I'm a pretty big fan of to begin with. One of the most beautiful animated movies I've ever seen. It translates a 2D art style to 3D exceptionally. The tricks that they pulled in this movie, the way it's oriented, so where you're kind of like looking at it from the side view, is awesome. It's like a classic Peanuts cartoon. It's so good. Oops, wrong attack. It's the only thing I would say about this movie is some of the voices, and honestly the modern Peanuts voices in the past have always been kind of iffy, just because the originals are so spot on and like ingrained into my head. But they do a good job. This movie's pretty emotionally powerful, especially with everything with like the play Charlie Brown had to be in or what have you, the little redhead girl. The payoff for that is one of the best I've seen in any movies. I can't say now, but that had me in tears. I love that even though it's like, you know, it's a modern movie, they don't want to be too downtrodden like Peanuts typically is for the newer generation. They gave Charlie Brown a win at the end, but they still kind of kept it in line with Peanuts. So it felt deserved or just nice to finally let up, because Peanuts does have those moments, few and far between, where the clouds finally part and the sun shines through, so to speak. And that happens in this movie later on. I feel like it was deserved after the whole plot. It was quite nice, I would say. I haven't seen this since I first watched it, but I still remember. I still think about it. It's such a great movie. I really want to rewatch it just talking about it. And then last but not least in S tier is Rio. This is still one of the best animated movies, one of the best movies I've ever seen. This is my brother's favorite movie, at least animated movie. And he used to watch this non-stop, and I was not complaining because this movie is so good. The music's incredible. The characters are very memorable, very funny, very distinct. The setting is amazing. Rio feels very lively. I love that we get to see a lot of different locations, not just in the city, but outside the city. At the beginning we get, was it Minnesota? We see a bit of the jungle here and there. This movie feels alive, and I think that's what its biggest strength. Thank you. I accept that's apology, I suppose. But yeah, this is the main like opening song of this movie. There should be a Pokemon Center around here, I think. Is one of my favorite songs. I listen to it fairly often. I would really recommend listening to it. It's called Real in Rio. It's really good. Yeah, it's just, this movie's great. It's got some great jokes. It's a modern classic. Same for Peanuts. I miss Blue Sky, man. This was their crowning achievement for me. Yeah, a pretty good legacy, I would say, for how little they had. I think their batting average was pretty solid. But yeah, that's going to be the Blue Sky tier list.